Look, okay, just get any blunt objects together, all right? If you get cornered, bash them in the head. That seems to work out. Keep together, stay sharp, and follow me.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
All right, welcome back. It is Fuel, Unfiltered Automotive Truth. I am your host, Dennis Pitzenbarger. We missed it last week, or last episode when I had Steve Kelly on. I had to make a very important small announcement. We have to always thank the Podfather. My guest in studio right now don't know who the Podfather is, but he's the guy who forced me to get back into media after I left. And I got to give a shout out to the Podfather. We'll start with that. You know, he knows who he is. He's always been a benefactor of mine. Can't appreciate him enough, but thank you out there, Mr. Podfather. Now, without further ado, in studio, in my small but yet stuffy studio, a la carte, Oregon City style, I guess technically David and David Chun, but more importantly, David Chun and Cooper Chun. How you guys doing?
Doing great.
Getting ready for race season. So.
Yeah, I hear that. So here's something for you. When I first started drag racing, and I never really had this in circle track because you kind of just, it was a different setup with where the car was and not. I remember, I mean, you guys know who Scott Pettit is. And he looked at me and he goes, I go, man, I got like 3 months to get ready. He looks at me and he goes, no. You have 5 days. And I'm like, 5 days? What the fuck are you talking about? He goes, dude, how many weekdays you working on your car? And I'm like, oh shit, you're right. 1 Saturday, 2 Saturday, 3 Saturday. I got 5 days to get my car ready. So, you know, I get that. Now remember, guys, don't get shy on me because you're standing there. The camera's on. Let's have some fun. Now, I kind of warned you. Now, this is all in good fun. This was now, by my recollection, almost 6 years ago. Because that's how many years I've had the cars, technically 5.5. I will bet you right now, both of you, $20 a pop, if you can tell me what our first interaction was at Woodburn Drag Strip.
It was Night of Fire.
He's on it. Okay. Now, do you remember? It wasn't, I don't think it would be what was called pleasant. Do you remember? Do you remember our small, it was you and me first, then you got in on the mix. Do you remember? I was really wondering if you remembered this.
I don't think so.
I
don't think so.
Tick tock. You were okay, so the bet goes down as we give clues. It's like a game show, right? You were in a junior dragster.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were having a bad day. I don't know if you were having a good day. You were in a junior dragster. You may or may not have parked it in a certain spot. Is this clicking in yet?
No.
No?
Really.
It's okay, because if you said, yeah, I remember, you're the jerk in the silver car.
No.
You don't remember?
Mm-mm.
So I'm new. And you guys all like, who the fuck is that guy? You know? And I have no idea who you guys are. I'm just like, la, this is drag racing. This is fun. It's not like I've never been there, but I was always on the other side taking photos or whatever. So I don't know if you lost, won, motor blew. I don't know what the hell was going on. You were not in a good mood.
Yeah.
Okay. I come around what I would call the track closest return road where you're pitted. And I'm trying to get up there, and you park your junior dragster just right in the middle of the fucking lane. Is this clicking in at all?
A little bit. I remember I used to leave it on the road, and he would get mad at me all the time because I left it kind of on the road, but not in the grass. Yeah.
Just say it.
In the road?
Yeah.
When you could put it in the grass?
Yeah.
Well, you put it in the grass. Now the bet's off because now we know what. Now, I look back on that now. Now, it was not like, you know, and obviously I curse on this thing. It's not like it was like, fuck you, we're going to get in a fight at the track. Yeah. But I was like, you did it once. And I was like, and you just kind of looked at me like, because you just put your helmet on the top of the thing and walked off. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? So I drove around you. You come around the next pass. I was actually lucky enough. You remember, well, we'll get to the part where you and I at Night of Fire. And you parked it right in the fucking street again. Yeah. And I'm like, so I roll my window down and I'm like, move your fucking dragster. And you looked at me like, pfft. And the minute you did that, you walked into the picture.
Yeah.
And you walked over and you're like, and I remember you're like, get your fucking car in the grass. And I was like, at that point, you came over and threw some heavy dad shit on him. And I just, oh, fuck, I'm out of here, man. Somebody's in trouble now. I didn't mean to stir the pot. As Deadpool would say, I don't take the shits, I just stir them. So anyway, I didn't know if you would remember that because you were,
I remember having a problem of leaving on the road, but I don't remember the specific.
Okay, well, I didn't expect you to. You're probably, and nobody knew who the fuck I was. I'm just some guy there like, oh, fuck, this is easy, you know?
Well, and actually at that time, I don't think cars were supposed to be driving through there because that was supposed to be only juniors. So technically you were probably in the wrong, not knowing that you were in the wrong.
Oh, no, and I see later, after I figured this shit out, that's why it was all good fun because I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't have a fucking clue.
Yeah, you hadn't been there. You wouldn't have known.
I'm just like, oh shit, I got to go up there and pretend like I know what I'm doing. And I start to go up there, and yeah, you're in the middle of the road. And admittingly, after I found out, they're like, these guys, this is their carte blanche to do this. And I'm like, all I know is I'm not driving my car. Now it's new to me. I'm shiny. I'm wiping it with a diaper. And I'm like, I'm not driving my car in the fucking dirt for no reason. And so anyway, I just wondered if you remembered that. But that, pardon me, that was funny as it leads to the end of that particular night of fire. Come on, man, you guys say.
And it had to be, so it had to be before Night of Fire because juniors don't run at Night of Fire.
No, I ran that year. That was the year
They ran juniors at Night of Fire?
like 8 people get a run.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was Night of Fire.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because 8 people get to run in the Invitational.
Pardon me. But that led up, and we got a lot of other things to cover. But what's funny, there's another funny story that goes with that particular Night of Fire because a lot of people have heard me tell the story about I walked into drag racing. I knew what drag racing was. I've been around the hot rod thing and all blah, 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 blah. But not doing it, I had no idea, and we can get into this too, is just how fucking hard bracket racing is.
Yeah.
Right? You got to remember the first time I really took the car out. I went rounds. I did all this stuff, and that led to where you and I cross paths.
Yes.
Which was the finals in the Gambler.
So it was the quarters.
Was it the quarters?
It was the quarters with a single to the final.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I just had to get past you, and I was going to be in the final round.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I always thought that was funny because I talked to Frank Pettit about this, and I go, because Frank walks over to me, and he can imagine, like, I don't know who your dad is. I don't know that the guy's like 00 every time, right on the dial. That guy's going to chop your fucking knees out from under you. And I walk up, and I'm like, I'm just so excited because I'm going rounds. I mean, a couple people red lit against me, all this stuff. I'm like, fuck, this shit's easy. And I get up there, and Frank walks over and goes, oh, by the way, you're splitting. And I'm like, what do you mean I'm splitting? I want to race. He's like, no. It's fucking Chun. You're splitting. I had no choice. I had no negotiation. He just walks over. You walked over to Frank, like, what's the deal with this kid? And Frank, you guys did, like, he was my pit crew or something. He walked over and did some sort of negotiation.
Yes.
Guys,
So we were deciding because the winner of that round was going to be in the final, so we were going to kick back X amount of dollars back, and so that was what we were discussing.
Yeah.
That was in my crew chief phase, and it was goal for him to win. And when he red lit, I was not very happy.
No, I can imagine.
And then we're obviously going to talk about what happened. Cooper comes running over to me and is like, Dad, Dennis has a delay box in his car, and so
the infamous delay box.
So yes. I'm like, when I said to Cooper, I go, Cooper, he's probably not using it. Like, this should be an easy round to win. I'm not going to say that I said Dennis was a duck, but I'm sure I inferred that. And
okay.
And I'm like, I'm going to win this round. Like, we'll worry about it later. I'll talk to the tech guy later. I'm not like, there's no reason. And then I go up and I red light.
Of course. But I just thought it was funny when Frank walks up and there was no negotiations. By the way, you're splitting. I'm like, what do you mean? I want to race it. No, you're splitting. Don't worry about it. And yes, the infamous delay box that was in my car now you know me now. I still don't know how to fucking use it. By the way. When we messed around the garage a minute ago, and I am gonna run Super Pro. We'll get into that again later. I'm not running a box either. Yeah. I'm just gonna be like, fuck it. I'm just gonna let go. You know.
Yeah.
because I have no idea how to use it. And everybody thought the delay box was in the car because all of a sudden I'd be like, 008. But nobody realized that the next round I was 108.
Yep.
So there was I could have sat and pushed buttons like I knew what I was doing on it, but I had no idea how to use the fucking thing. Okay, fun aside, let's go back to what I think a lot of people may or may not know is a lot of it is drag racing is such a family history sport.
Yeah.
This is where I talk a lot less, by the way, guys. I mean, I'm going to give you shots of Red Bull in a second.
Sorry.
It's okay. I'm just giving you a hard time. This all starts well before you're on the planet.
Yeah, way before.
Give me some insight on all of this because I mean, there's David before. Is there a David before that too?
Yeah. My grandpa's name was David also. He started out, he moved to Vancouver and he raced dirt tracks and stock cars and stuff, had junkyards and so always been automotive. Then my dad got into drag racing, was drag racing stuff as I was growing up. So that's where I got it from. My dad always says that I took it to the next extreme. He would race on Wednesday nights and then race the team finals, and that was the season for him. And he says, when I started racing, it was just every race I could go to, I went to. So yeah, he says I was a little more extreme, and then we come up with Cooper, who wants to race even more than I did.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
Now, one of the things that came up, and I did a little digging. I didn't go like super digging, but I had a few people like, okay, what am I going to ask these guys? You've raced everything. I mean, whether it be cars, dragsters, roadsters, everything, you've kind of had your hand in everything throughout the years, right?
Yes. So I started in high school. I didn't have the fortune to run juniors. So, but I started in high school and I've ran door cars and dragsters and roadsters and I never raced motorcycles.
He tried.
I tried, but
he tried. Me and Mom
they're
shut him
pretty
down.
much against me racing motorcycles. So I bought a snowmobile once and was going to do snowmobiles, and then they decided to let delay boxes in, and then you can't put a delay box on snowmobiles. So I decided not to do that. So.
I think watching those guys in the snowmobiles, that is just like, I mean, we all are stupid and dumb to think that we're going to like it's a money making thing or something like that. The snowmobile guys, it's like, dude, you got wires that are not hooked up right. I mean, it's like you're up there. I've ridden a snowmobile in the snow.
And they're great.
They're fun in the snow.
Yes.
But why you're putting the thing on some sort of chip or two-step at a drag strip and going at it, I have no idea.
I think it's better than a bike because a bike you got to balance. Snowmobile you don't got to balance.
That's a good point. I'm not going for full grandpa trike, though. I'm not. That's what it's. Well, I don't know. Wait, I am 53. You never know in the future. Just go. Anyway, where does it take I guess a chunk of your life? How much? Everyone's got a balance. Like me, my personal little thing is, a slice of the pie. I have this much time. I have to work this much. I have to sleep this much. I have to work this much. How much of your pie is drag racing? I mean, has it changed over the years? Has it?
I feel like for me, it's gotten more serious as it's gone on. I don't know for him, but
I mean, everything I do has been involved around drag racing. And that being said, I've done other stuff, but I go snowmobiling once a year. I wouldn't do it twice a year. I went and rode quads at the dunes, and I'm like, that's fun every couple years. But I've always came back to like, drag racing is amazing. It's what I do. It's our family. I did at one point get into jump car racing, and that was probably a good thing I didn't get into doing road racing back when I started because that was a lot of fun. But the family aspect in drag racing has always been great.
Yeah.
So
I love to hear that about that lineage that goes down, because that's what really makes, when you're walking around Woodburn or Portland or you're down south or whatever, it doesn't matter, across the country, it's always that family thing that connects that's so cool. I mean, I've said it a million times. I tried to get my daughter into a junior dragster. She got in it. They fired it. She pulled the belts and said, fuck this. I'm not doing it. I'm like, I get it. That's cool. But it's that lineage where you see all of that come together down the road. I mean, you had a lot of success. I mean, you both got, I'm surprised you didn't do the Steve thing and just walk in with all your wallies. But where do you, in your life then switch from the importance of your drag racing program to his?
So when we started, so he at 8 years old, he was when he could start running juniors, and we bought a junior. He was a little nervous to get into it right off the bat, but then once we get it, I would show up at the track with the junior hanging out of the back. He would red light first round, and we would do loser bracket, and he would red light first round. And so we do this for like
every week.
We do this for like a month, and I'm like, Cooper, you can't win if you're red. Like, you got to quit red lighting. And we bought a junior, and he could. I think at the time he could only run like 1290, and this junior would run like 950s.
Oops.
So I had him in a car that was faster than he should have been, which was the nervous part of him not wanting to race right off the bat.
Thanks to Mom, forced me to go.
And then
No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
So we finally got him in there, and I'm to the extreme. Like, most people would take their kid out once a week, and he'll get it. Well, I'm the extreme. I'm like, you're going to go Wednesday night, and we're going to go Saturday and Sunday, and you're going to get.
When you're out, you're going to keep making runs. Yeah.
Like, I'm not the guy that's going to load it up and go home at that point. If there's more runs we can get, he's going to get better if we keep him in the car going down the track.
Well, yeah, that goes to what, a lot of people know now. That's the only reason I'm going to put my car in Super Pro. I don't care if all I get is just 2 more time runs in the first round. I just want reps.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what everybody has told me from the get-go. I mean, you got the what I would call, I don't want to say the old guard, but the men of there, and then you look at guys like you or Hayden, and these guys are at Portland on Wednesday, and they're in every single race. Like, I just run the Sunoco races. You guys, I don't care. I mean, if it's open, I'm there. And if there's something to drive, I'm going to get in it, and that's. I've succumbed, I think that's the word. I don't know. I gave in to the fact that that's what I got to do. Yep. I just got to make reps.
Every weekend possible. If there's a race, I'm going to go try and be there.
Okay. Now, you can put them on the spot, or you can not get yourself in trouble. It's your call right now. Was there ever a point when you felt you were pushed too much, or was there whatever, like maybe you didn't get enough push?
Not necessarily, because when I was younger, it was more about having fun going there with friends and whatnot, and then it got to a point where I wanted to go more than him. So,
really?
Yeah.
Was that just because you had the drive for the competition? I don't know.
It's pretty much everything about it, racing-wise, yes, it's family sport and everything, and then on top of that, like, the competition, trying to win every week is, I don't know, it's always come to me.
What is it inside, man? I mean, dude, everybody knows I'm just out there having fun. If I win, I hate to say it, you're like, hey, you're gonna run tough, and I don't care if Saturday we're gonna put. Honestly, like, listen, if I go out, I'm like, cool, and I'm over in my camp.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna take it a little more seriously this year because I just want more reps. But where do you balance that, man? I mean, it's got to be tough because you got a life. You're a young guy.
Yeah. Balance-wise, I feel like when I go to Woodburn or Portland, it's more just to have fun. I'm there to hang out with my friends, there to try different things, try and have fun. I wouldn't say it's too serious. Like, it's not business. It's not just there mostly for fun, but winning's awesome. So
holding $5,000 checks.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's nice. Who do you think? Now, I think I read somewhere, I don't know what the current record is. What is the current record between the two of you?
I'm not up.
I don't know what it is. I'm just not up.
Is it 3-2 or?
I think it's 3-2.
Yeah,
3-2. That's it.
Yeah.
But he pulled a parachute on me, did a burnout past me. He has style points and everything.
Okay.
So.
Well, we're old guys. We can get away with that. That's what I find is interesting is going to the races. It's always that thing I talk about when I go around. A lot of people don't realize I'm not just bored when I'm just riding around on my scooter by myself.
Yeah.
I love going by and just looking at pits. I think I ride around more for no reason than anyone at Woodburn. I do. Because I'm just riding around and I get such a kick out of watching people do it. Because for all the years that I spent like doing the photography and the video of you guys running, I was always one to be a people watcher and watch the groups. When you guys are all put it together, it's got to bring that together for you guys. What does that part of racing mean to you?
The family aspect of like the Kellys, the Taylors, like our whole core group that we go racing with, we just went on a cruise with them 2 weeks ago. Like, there's no, like, I don't know, like, you can't put it in words. Like,
Yeah.
there's no one else you want to go racing with in our core group.
Going for that and then going traveling. Do you guys, I mean, you know, obviously, you know, you won Super Pro in 21 or 22?
22.
22.
But so, like, this year we went to St. Louis and we went to all those tracks, and it was different because I didn't have a core group to hang out with. I didn't have, like, when I went to Charlotte, I got to hang out with the Theophiluses and stuff. But it's different when you don't have your core group. It's definitely not as fun, so
Yeah.
to speak.
Do you find yourself more focused then?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
The million is very spread out. So I'd say no in that sense because 5 hours moving around, 6, something like that.
Yeah, it was crazy, and you know, it was a whole different experience racing without friends there. And the people back east were great. We could stop and talk to them, but the parking in the group and hanging out with the friends and it's and like I told people, like, people always are like, oh, you drag race and that must be so expensive and stuff. And I'm like, you know, it is expensive. It's more expensive than having a boat, but it's the same thing. You're meeting your friends at the track and we're racing during the day. And then it's just camping with friends after we get done racing. And I think that's a lot of what people don't see that don't drag race, that there's a lot of us hanging out with our friends.
Well, it's almost, well, I mean, you got to realize the thing that you happen to mention that you saw some of the pictures I used to do roundy round stuff. And I've always brought this up a million times. You know, when you go out roundy round, the better you get, the more time you get on track. Like, if you can advance from the B main to the A main and the heats and everything, like, all of a sudden you're out there for an extra 30, 40, 50 laps. The better you get at drag racing, or the better your car gets, the less time you have fun. I mean, that part of it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I mean, I'd love to go. I mean, it's Pro Mod. It's the World Series of Pro Mods. I do and I don't want to go 360s at 260.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that is a rush beyond rush, but wait a minute. I almost wish I could have, when I actually started to go drag racing myself, wish I could have went and put myself in a 15-second beater mobile. You know, it could have been like, you know, whatever it was. It could be the infamous brown El Camino that floats around, you know. I always wonder, going from all these different cars that you've now driven, you know, do you enjoy, I mean, it's been documented you'd rather be in a dragster than anything.
Yeah.
But do you sometimes go back and just, like, look back and go, yeah, the old El Camino was fun, or whatever it was that you were in?
I wish we wouldn't have sold it. It was the perfect Wednesday night car, perfect Woodburn car. Just, it doesn't matter. It's not going to break.
Yeah.
You don't got to do anything. You park it in the back of the lanes. You go walk off. Like, don't got to do anything. You don't have to put gas in it. Like, when you're at the track, you fill it up before you get there. Like, it's a perfect car for my friends to come down from Seattle and race. Like,
do you, when you were growing up doing this, did you look at your friends? I don't know if you did other sports, but, like, you know, there was like the typical, you know, baseball, football, basketball.
I did baseball for a few years.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you're talking to other kids growing up doing the juniors and all this stuff, I mean, did they be like, did you play that up, or did you be like, I mean, I don't think you're the kind of person, just my gut reaction or gut feeling is you didn't be like, well, I'm a fucking drag racer. I didn't see that. I don't see that coming out.
No, they'd be like, what are you doing this weekend? Like, gone racing. Like,
Yeah.
not home. Like, and when I played baseball, it was kind of me and my mom's thing, and I took a year, like half a year off from racing. Like, I just played baseball, and it came to a point where it was either competitive baseball or racing, and I obviously chose racing. And
You think I'd say you made the right choice.
Yeah.
I mean, you're the one with the fucking Wallies.
yeah,
What I don't think we need to dive onto it too much, but obviously one of the things that has happened, and what was really cool was the rally behind you was getting sick. I don't want to dive through the whole process of it, but, you know, I don't know. Tell people what the gist of that was.
in terms of like diagnosis wise.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'll be very honest with you. I don't know. I know you got sick. I mean, this is how naive I am, because I don't dig into other people's private stuff. If you don't want to share, be like, hey, I got sick.
Yeah.
I believe you got some form of cancer. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I got Ewing's sarcoma on my right pelvis. Did chemo, did all that stuff. And right now, I'm clear right now.
Good.
The tumor they think is dying, but clear as best as I can be as of right now. So.
Yeah, that must have been obviously the health, overcome the health part of it must have been a lot of what going through it was, but as we're talking about drag racing, it must have been painful not to be able to get in the car.
Yeah, so I watched the spring fling from the house, and that was pretty tough, but at the same time, and missing the world finals. But at the same time, all the support I had around me from racing, like, I got the diagnosis, it was like 2 days I was sad, but then it was like, well, the only way to get back in the car and race, which I love to do, is to get through it. And then all the support and everything, like.
Do you feel, do you have better, I don't know if it would be, not respect, the word would be, do you have, I guess, a better scope of the world going through something like that in how lucky you are to be able to do what you do?
Yeah. Live every day like your last.
Yeah.
And races. I mean, what I took out of it is, like, I truly love the race, so I'm going to try and race as much as possible.
Yeah.
And, like, the family aspect, like, that not being there and having everyone else be there kind of sucked. So.
Yeah. What I mean, it's again, I don't want to talk about it too much, but it had to have been tough going from, literally going to national events to not being there. I mean,
it was the highest of the highest, the lowest of lows. I mean, I won the division championship for Super Pro at 18, and then 2 weeks later, I was in a bed and I was stuck there for 6 months. So.
Yeah, I can't imagine that. I mean, I can't imagine from a dad perspective. It had to have been tough. I'm not talking about just from the drag racing standpoint, because I mean, you're a drag racing family.
Yeah.
But it must have been tough watching that, knowing that what you guys share as a family could potentially come to an end, and thank God it isn't now.
Yeah, we did not. It was very, very hard. It felt like it was like 2 or 3 years, and it ended up being less than a year. But it was just the racers rallied behind and kept us focused, and his mom was amazing with him.
And my mom was unbelievable.
Without Tracy, we would have really struggled. So she was amazing through the whole thing, and she fortunately had time to take off with him, to spend time with him, to get him, to heal him and get him better and be able to get back to racing.
Well, I know when you started to show up around the track again and that kind of stuff, I mean, it was people just, they freaked out.
I was nervous as hell.
Yeah.
That first, I'm like, I don't want to go. Mom's like, you're going. And I'm like, stay at the trailer. I'm not going to talk to anybody. And then I had an interaction with like one person, and it was back to relatively normal, and I wasn't worried about it anymore. But
what was the first car? Now, we can have fun about, we were going to have our nostalgia race, my IROC versus the 5.0, which never, I don't know what happened with that. I think somebody threw their car in the mix at the last second. I was so excited to race. What car did you go back into first? I mean,
the Mustang.
Oh, it was the Mustang.
Yeah.
Okay, the infamous 5.0. That's okay. It's a Ford. It's okay.
It's got a Chevy in it. It's okay.
I know, but it's that's the thing is you can't hate a Fox Mustang. No. You can't. I don't care.
It's got the right pieces where it needs it.
Very true.
Do you have a 9-inch Ford in your Camaro?
We'll not talk about that.
Okay.
I may or may not have some Ford parts in my car. Walk me through the first pass. I mean, I'm not trying to be like doomsdayer. Okay, so you have a massive amount of success in a racing family that loves to do it, rally around you. It's like the norm. People don't realize going to Woodburn for the whole weekend is the norm for you guys.
Yeah. Yes. So the first pass, I made it after coming back. I ran a super pass and was like, it's okay. And then, my leg was obviously super weak from not running for 6 months and not walking or anything. So I told him, I said, I feel like I'm going to double. I'm going to run both classes. Right? Well, I can't hold the pedal all the way down without using my right hand. Well, in Super Pro, that's fine because I can let go and then, use my hand. Bottom load can't do that because I'm going to let go with the button. So I've been doing like letting go and going right to it. First 2 time runs works out perfectly fine. Round 1, I go up there. Round 1, you're not worried about winning. Like, I'm not worried about leg, nothing at all. Well, I just let go normally. Goes 10 feet, foot falls off.
That could be a little discerning.
Yeah, yeah.
And meanwhile, in between every round, he's making me change springs. It's too heavy. It's too light.
Yeah.
We're changing all kinds of throttle leverage and that's.
But that
we got to
happens
finally
every
figure.
race. I do that
That's
anyways.
every race with Cooper. This is wrong. That's wrong. We got to fix this. But we got to figure it out. And his leg got stronger, and we were off to the races.
Yep.
Right on. When did you get back in the dragster? Was that just a short time after that, or
It was about a month and a half later, 2 months later. July.
that had to have been? I mean, the Mustang is cool. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll give anybody with a Ford a hard time. But that's where the passion really is for you. I mean, that's the car you won the Super Pro Championship in. I mean, you gotta be. Was it what combination of nervous and excited was that when you finally got in the big car, so to speak?
It was a little bit of both. I mean, it was weird going up for the first pass because you think like everything's normal, but it's not. Like I haven't done it in 8 months or so, and it was like, oh, here goes nothing. Like, and the throttle position, that thing, you're on the floor, you're not at a downward angle, so it was a little bit better. And yeah.
What were you reaction times off? I mean, were you?
No, not really. It was right hand, so. But I had to completely change how I
Finish
go.
line.
Finish line.
Throttle pedal with finish line.
Yeah.
He's struggled with.
Yeah, I'm still figuring that part out.
Yeah. You double class, you're going to get there.
I last year I had my breakthrough with my little peephole on my helmet. I don't know. I mean, I've shared this. I don't know if I've talked about it, but I got lucky and I just kept trying. Well, it's like you guys are there. I'll throw the kitchen sink at the thing if it'll make me so I'll stop red lighting. When you talked about him red lighting, I'm like, oh, I know that game. I just paid this much for fuel and this much for entry and this and then I went up first round.
That's probably the hardest part about like the big money $1 million races is like it's $2,000 and you're up there, and if you lose, it's $5. Like you spent $2,000 on the entry fee, so the $500 buyback you already accounted for that. So it's a $500 round. Then it's like
you're $2,500 in if you go, and if that you're only $2,000.
You're only $2,000, but like the other $500 you already got to account for because you're not gonna spend $2,000 and not spend the $500. And then like at the $1 million it was even more crazy because like the fling in Vegas, you have most people who are buying their own entry fees and whatnot. But like back there, everyone has backers, so. It's not they're doubled, so it's not their $4,000.
Yeah, they're double entry with double buyback.
But it's not their money. Someone else is paying it. So like they don't have any stress as them as a driver.
I'll just go up there and run.
And it's hard to do.
Yeah, I'll just stick to Woodburn. I ain't got that kind of investment, man. I mean, if I get there, I'll get there, but I ain't gonna make that one.
You should come up to Bremerton for that foot brake race.
I would,
that'd be a good travel for you to come up to the Bremerton race.
I try. Well, funny when I had all my troubles last year, I don't know if you know this, but I literally won run around the entire year. I tried everything. I even tried foot braking it, and I was like, I could not get past the first round. I just sat there while someone kicked me in the teeth, and until the very last week, and all of a sudden I'm in the semis with Steve and all that other crap that I got lucky on, but it was me figuring something out, and that's why anyway. Not about me. You've talked back and forth so far. I'm going to kind of throw a little left turn in this about Portland and Woodburn.
Yes.
Now, I have been, I guess you would call it privy to some very, how would you put it? Aggressive conversations that I've witnessed at Woodburn. That was a pretty good way of putting that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Some very heightened sense sort of communications between you and other people between Portland and Woodburn. Now, I know that because I've listened to you talk right next to me. I don't know if you remember the one time. I don't think we'll leave who you talk to about out of this. But you're very passionate about Portland. Now, I know that, quote unquote, back in the day, Portland was the place to go. I mean, like, I've talked to guys that said there would be 60, 70 cars in pro on a Wednesday night, or just ridiculous numbers there.
Yeah, and it's hard to believe that they would get that many cars. That was right before I started racing out there. The Portland Woodburn thing, it's easy for us to go to Portland because we come from Vancouver on a Wednesday night.
Well, sure.
I don't know that if I lived in Oregon City, if I would fight the traffic to race on Wednesday night at Portland. It breaks up our week. It's easy for us to get to coming from Vancouver. So that's
but there's always this thing. What is the thing, man? I don't get it.
I don't know.
People get so I don't know. They just get so wound up about the Portland guys, the Woodward guys. I'm like, dude, isn't it like pro or super pro or box or whatever you want to call it?
I think it's just the team finals.
Mostly
It's the team finals where Woodburn's won so many of the team finals, and we're third or fourth on that, and it's just a natural rivalry.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't think it's like bad.
Yeah. Well, right.
It's all
right.
in good. It's all in good fun.
Yeah.
Okay. 'Cause, I mean, well, yeah, competition drives good racing. I mean,
I think we're so fortunate to be able to have two tracks close to race at these days. It's
And they don't bash heads. Like one's on Wednesday, one's on weekends. They don't have.
yeah. The only thing I ever had a problem with Portland, and I don't know who the guy was. I remember. So there's one guy that was a starter, kind of a shorter guy, and there was another taller guy. This was ever my only bitch about Portland, and it's. I took the black car, the convertible, which is more of a street car. It's kind of a showy, nicey car. I mean, it's a nice car, black paint, stuff like that. I go in there with the top down, thinking I'm just going to run in like whatever. It's a manual car. I'll just go. And the guy threw like 10 things at me. You got to have this, you got to have that, to run the top down. I'm like, okay, I don't know. No big deal. Yeah. So I go back and I buy wrist restraints because I wanted to run it with the top down. That was cool. All these little things. I go up to the lane. I do the burnout. I pull up. And this tall guy leans in the other side. And this is really stupid and kind of, I don't know, petty on my part. But get your dick beaters off my black paint. Okay? Yeah. I mean, you walk up and you start fucking finger fucking the whole side of my car. And I'm like, dude, I don't walk up to your fucking house and just start fucking going through your refrigerator. Yeah. So fucking stop touching my fucking car place. If you don't think I'm supposed to run, just go, hey man, we got a tech issue with you. Roll it back there and let's make sure you got everything. Not, me spending an hour later with a fucking buffer because you rubbed your fucking belt buckle all over the side of my car. Oh, man. And I know that's stupid and petty, but I got over it. But, like the silver car, I won't wear mufflers on it, so that's never going to run there. That's I get that, but that's also one of the things that frustrates me about Portland is the noise thing. And it has nothing to do with, I mean, come on, dude. You bought a house by a racetrack. What do you think was going to happen?
Yeah, well, and my thing is the people who are in that neighborhood, I'm like, if you lived there before the racetrack started, you can have your complaint. Like, if you lived there before the racetrack started, right?
Yeah.
But you can't move there,
Thank you.
know it's there, and then want to complain about it. Like, you bought the house there.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when I lived in the other side of town, the flight path for PDX was over my house. It'd be like me calling Alaska Airlines going, these planes are going over my house. Well, no shit, Anyway, these are my notes for things that I'm supposed to ask you about. I thought this was interesting. You'll know who this came from, the first one. There was something about 1999 and chasing a guy in Super Pro that drove a Pinto.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many where I had like 2 or 3 Super Pro track championships at that point at PIR, and Scott Lang decided to come out and run in Super Pro, and he was leading the points, and I'm like, there's no way I can let this guy come out and win Super Pro. It won't make my Super Pro championships not mean much. And so that was where I came out. I came back out.
Well, a lot of it was people don't realize that what Scott drives. I mean, because were you in a dragster at that point?
Yeah, I would have been in my first dragster, the Saran car. So yeah.
So you're in this really nice. I mean, dragsters are always cool. I mean, I'm not going to take away from door cars. I own a door car, but I mean, dragsters just. I mean, come on, man. You guys they look fucking cool.
That's the one he had door car wheelie bars on at one point.
Yeah.
Went through its paces.
Okay. But Scott drives out in a wood grain Pinto. Yes. And you're like, what the hell's going on here? I mean, I got a bunch of nice ones. Something about, the one that I thought was interesting was after some adult beverages. This is probably pre-you maybe, or at least you're not supposed to be drinking. Don't admit it, at least. Something about a golf cart.
Oh yeah, this was this year.
So this was this year at Night of Fire.
I'm not involved.
I like the way you just get out of it.
I was not there.
Involved. No. So just having a good time with the big group, the big party, and going out and getting drunk and deciding to do wheel stands with the golf cart, which we shouldn't be doing. And
Well, I mean, of course we weren't drinking. We were just being adolescents, adult adolescents.
This golf cart has been flipped though.
rolled. It has been
Or
rolled.
we rolled it.
At
Bremerton,
Yeah.
and a bunch of all my friends. We were not.
What do I have to do? What do I have to do? You guys to tell me these stories.
We weren't drinking though. No drinking was involved. But so.
You know when people say that, they just assume you're
No,
drunk.
we weren't. And
Okay.
So, me and a couple of buddies were on scooters. Others on golf carts. Like we're all just messing around, having fun. So we're at Bremerton, and we have timed how to go down, touch the back fence, and come back. Well, the golf carts are getting a head start, and then me and my buddy on scooters are chasing after them. And so we go down. We're all trying to race back, and my friend Ian there's a sign for exit at Bremerton because there's no real walls, like there's just exit sign, and you take an exit off the track. Well, he sees it, panic brakes, and it goes on its side. I'm behind him. I roll up there, and as he's flipping it over, he goes, "You didn't see anything," and I'm like, "I did." And so everyone's fine. We go back, and the golf cart. The only thing you can tell on it is the bolts that hold the top on. Luckily, it has a hard top, so it didn't roll, or flip, or ground down. So I'm like, he can't tell. I'm like, so I go all night. Am I going to tell him? I'm not going to tell him. And there was like 10 of us down there. And I'm like, this story's going to get out. So it's probably better if I just tell him.
Yeah, it might be a better call. Just pull the Band-Aid off.
And he wasn't too mad.
No, as long as you guys don't get hurt, it's all part of the story.
And that's part of the fun of it. I mean, that is the fun. If you had to find one memory of all of your drag racing, I'll start with you. If you had to have one memory if you had to tell one story of your career in drag racing to date, what story would you tell?
So I think for our family, the story where we were in Bremerton,
Took mine.
and you'll have to find another one. It's a story that
Well, you got a minute to think about it. Go ahead.
we would not even have written this story, and I showed up. Cooper was racing. I had a friend of mine that had bought a race car. He raced it on Saturday. I show up Sunday morning, and he says, I can't race it. Can you race the car? I didn't even want to race the car. We end up talking me into it, and I ended up racing the car, and I was foot braking the car.
Why did you want to race it? What was it? Were you just nervous, or was it not nervous like you couldn't do it, but just nervous like
I didn't feel like I had a chance to win.
Okay.
So
okay.
I just because we were going right into first round. I might have had a time run, but it was in a car that I hadn't really raced on the bottom bulb, and just the chances of me winning weren't that great. But once I got in the car, there was a buyback, and so I was able to use that as one of my time runs. And miraculously, I ended up winning this race, and Cooper wins in Super Pro. He's in the dragster. I'm in this car. We end up being able. They didn't even have a King of the Hill, and they decide because both of us win, they're gonna have a King of the Hill and put another couple $100 on there. So we go up there to stage, and
No, you gotta do the burnout story.
I will.
Don't
But
leave this out.
so we go up there to stage. Well, they had actually taken Tracy's or my wife, Cooper's mom, and they'd given her the starter switch to start us, and it was amazing to
That's
just
cool.
like amazing that she was able to get to do that. Amazing that she did it for us, and just having fun with Cooper. And so he does his burnout. And we always have this thing. He likes to back up and go forward on his burnout. And I'm like, I don't know why you have to do that, but okay, whatever. You can everybody does it. You can do it. And so he did his burnout, and I'm in this store car, and I'm like, well, I'm just going to burn out across the starting line after he does it and do a longer burnout than he did.
He has a burnout past me.
And so I do that. And then
A little showmanship. There's nothing wrong with that. You look at your face, you're like, yeah.
we're the last pair down the track, and we're running 8th mile. And so we leave, or I leave. He red lights, so now I know I won, and pretty epic trip and day. And
when I was little, when he would win, I'd always want him to pull the parachute,
so,
and he always forgot. Well, he didn't forget this run.
So he red lighted, gave me the whole trip, all the way down the track. So 8th mile, I pulled the parachute on this, and as he's coming by me, he gets to see the parachute come out. It was pretty epic.
That's cool. That's cool. Okay, so you had a minute. He stole your story,
I know.
as you put it. What? I mean, there's got to be some memories that you don't have. You can dig in deep. There's got to be something in there that like that favorite thing. I mean, I get that. That was I mean, you can't really top that. I mean, come on.
No, you
it's
can't.
hard.
This year, I don't know, lots of good stories. We'll start this year. So this year, my first race back in the dragster at Woodburn, my best friend JD, he wins Super Pro on Friday. It's a doubleheader. And I won Super Pro on Sunday. So we both won sweep Super Pro the whole weekend, took double pictures with the Wally. Like, that's probably the best racing-wise besides that one with him in the final, even though I lost. I don't really know. We do stupid stuff every week.
Well, what now you have? Again, I was expecting you to bring it. You would have had to brought it. Well, you did bring the truck, so you would have had room for them all. You have 2 of the full size,
The
right?
double-decker ones.
The
yeah.
double deckers, and you have a handful of the little ones, don't you?
I have 17 junior ones, which he doesn't count.
We don't count juniors
We
because
don't
I
count
couldn't get
juniors.
any of those.
That's fair enough, and I hate you.
I have 7 Wallies.
I think you should just give me one of the little ones. Just give me one, and I'll get a new little plaque for it. And we'll make up some race that I went to, and it's like what was it? I was in racing in Niagara Falls. You wouldn't know her. You got the reference on that. Thank you. But I've always said that if I ever got one of those, I'd go back to circle track because then I would feel accomplished that I did something. Now whether I do that or not, I have no idea.
I got faith in you.
I appreciate that, man. But the funny thing is now I'm gonna have to race both of you on both sides of the fucking gully. That's what I'm worried about. Is
You'll be fine.
do you feel in your experience looking at guys like Cooper or Hayden or all these younger guys who are coming up, do you feel that they are better, equal? Is it just a matter of experience in their terms of where they're going to go racing?
So what is amazing to me is the experience they have playing video games. Like, I was never really that into video games, and they play the drag racing video games. I'm like, can you actually think you're judging the finish line playing the video games? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, they're this far above where I feel like I was.
Yeah.
I think juniors is a big thing too. Getting kids out there at 8 instead of 16.
Yeah, I would have given anything to run juniors. I mean, I say that even though we yelled at each other on the side. It's okay. We're friends now. We hug. Pardon me. I love the junior dragster program. There's only one thing I don't like about junior dragsters. God, for fucking sake, they're fucking louder than shit.
Yeah.
Stage them. Just put them up there and stage them. And this new shot clock thing is going to be great.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about this. I've heard about this.
great.
What is the skinny on that?
So they're gonna give them
60 seconds.
60 seconds from when the car.
Scoreboards go off, I believe.
Okay, yeah.
Or it's either when the scoreboards go off from the pair above, or when the other cars go through the finish line, a 60-second clock starts.
Because I have seen a few of those go quite a bit longer than a minute. Yeah. I think that's the easiest way to put it.
Yeah.
I think it's really something that I don't think really it's whatever the thing is you want to do. If you look at professional road racers or even guys, I mean NASCAR, whatever, the guys that were successful were in a go-kart with a 5 horsepower Briggs and Stratton on it when they were 5.
Yep.
Yeah.
You look at these guys that are, and I'm not talking about, I hate to say old school, but whether you say it's a traditional drag, a Bob Glidden or whatever, the junior drag program is so important to get people used to it. I think if my daughter would have had ear plugs and muffs on, it wouldn't have startled her so much.
Yeah.
Because like I said, that's the only thing I really have a problem with. I think they're cool as shit, but they're louder than my car. I mean, it's like, my God, if it slows the thing down a couple tenths, put a fucking muffler on the thing or whatever you got to do. That's my only bitches. You're up there and you're like, I could be watching you in a dragster and I could watch those 10.5 guys go by. They're louder and shit too. And I don't even worry about my ears, but the juniors come out and I'm like, God, fuck, I don't know what it is about those
They're
things.
just loud. Yeah, single cylinder.
What the hell makes this damn thing so loud?
Yeah, compression and single cylinder, I guess, and the straight pipe.
Oh, I
And
mean,
there's
I've had
nothing
some
not
bike.
muffled under the car.
Well, I mean, I never took the muffler off a 500 thumper, but I mean, I guess I'd be the same thing, right? Where do you see him, and where do you see Dad in 5 years in drag racing? Because you're still a very young man. You said you're 19 now.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm old.
Almost 20.
I like that. Almost.
I'm almost 50.
Do you count that in months now? Are you what is that? 12 times 4? No, never mind. You're 268,000 months. No, I'm going to ask you first.
Where do I see him?
Where do you see Dad in 5 years? Now, by that time, there might be another. I don't know if you got a girlfriend, but there might be another David in the line at that point. You might meet the girl of your dreams next year at the racetrack, and boom, all of a sudden you got a family. I don't know, but where do you see Dad in 5 years?
In 5 years, I don't know. Because in 5 years, I'll have my degree, hopefully. And I'll probably be out of the house. So I don't know. Hopefully racing with Carter. And racing with me too still, but more with Carter.
Yeah. That's all you got now, like.
I don't know. I don't.
Hopefully.
He races some now, but he isn't. I don't know.
I don't know.
Look at you guys looking at each other. You're like,
I-
where do you see Cooper in 5 years?
So after this last year, it's been an amazing year. Like, he wanted to try some super comp racing. I think he did it once or twice 2 years ago. And then we went last year and did super comp racing, and he did such an amazing job, and he's so in tune with it. And so he finishes number 3 in the world, and now he can race for free at the national events and divisionally. And so we kind of have to go chase that because and he's at an age when I was 18 and graduated high school, my dad said to me, he goes, listen, you're never going to have a chance to go race as much as you can. Go race as much as you can. And we would race Wednesday nights and Woodburn on Saturday and drive to Seattle on Saturday night and then back to Woodburn on Wednesday. And it was crazy, and it was so amazing year that we had. And I never thought I'd ever want to go to the U.S. Nationals. It was always during the team finals, and I've never missed a team final since like 1990. So I'm like, there's no way I'm ever going to the U.S. Nationals. Well, all of a sudden,
big go. I mean, how do you not take a chance to go to that?
So all of a sudden, a week ago, I'm watching Daytona 500, and they're like, it's the biggest race of the year, and I'm like, all of a sudden that clicks in my head that the U.S. Nationals is the biggest race of drag racing, and I didn't have any interest in going, but now Cooper can go for free, and I'm like, we got to go. Like, it's just, and I'm just like, so I don't know where Cooper's going to be in 5 years. I know that drag racing is probably going to be part of it.
Yeah.
So
I
don't see us.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I don't see us finishing up. I don't see us going to top fuel, but I think it's great that we're able to give them the opportunity to go see all the tracks that we've got to race at. It was amazing. We went to Central Illinois Dragway because we had lost early at the Million, and it was an amazing track to go to that we would have never had a chance to go to.
I heard part of that story was when you went there, you kind of drag raced I don't know if you call it vagabond drag raced your way home. Like you just stopped and found, oh shit, there's a drag race. Let's unload the car.
Yeah, find a race to go to while we're.
Well, yeah, because I lost early on Saturday, and he's like, "They racing somewhere tomorrow?" And I'm like, and at that point, I was like, "I need a break." Like I got my ass kicked all week. I'm done. And then we went to lunch with we have family that lives in St. Louis, his sister, and went to lunch, and we're like halfway through lunch, and I'm like, immediately up on my phone, find out where there is the race.
And they were on the PA system saying there was a race close by. Yeah. So
well, that's cool. That's cool.
I'm like, how long does it take to get there? Can we get there tonight?
What do you feel that it's well? First off, I don't know, where are you going to go to school?
So I'm going to Clark right now. I was an engineer, but I switched to accounting. So
that's kind of a
yeah.
Nothing wrong with playing with other people's money. I like that. Just don't embezzle any. I'm kidding. Where now I asked where you thought the other one where you're gonna be. Where do you, because I know what you're gonna be doing, whatever he's doing. And you'll either be at Portland on Wednesday or down there at Woodburn on the weekend. Yeah. Where do you want to see your drag racing career go?
So I would like to get my degree as kind of like, and use that as a plan B.
Yeah.
And try and, because my mom always said if you want to go somewhere in racing, you have to get your degree as a backup plan. And I don't know what that looks like. I don't know.
Well, pause for a second. Right there, you proved to me that you're smarter than what I would consider most 18 to 22-year-olds. You just proved to me that you're probably smarter than 99% of them, because most of them are like, I want to be TikTok famous. I mean, I'm serious.
Yeah.
It drives me up a wall. You know, I mean, we're going to finish this, so don't lose the train of thought. I had a kid who came to the shop the other day and literally bitched at his dad because he had to drive a 2000 Lexus with 58,000 miles on it. I had to drive an old car. Jesus. Exactly. Eat a bag of ding-dongs. So when you say that, that's impressive to me because, I mean, I knew before I graduated what field I was going to play in. I didn't know how the path was going to get there, but I knew what I was going to do. Having that is, you know, if I'm wrong, you know, correct me, is if there's a chance, the chance is now. You might be in a professional setting getting paid to drive. Yeah. But you need B. Yes, you need plan B.
Plan B.
Mm-hmm.
If plan B never has to be activated, which I think, again, very impressed by that statement, that was right out of your face, mouth, whatever. Where would you really want to end up? Like me, I don't think everybody just automatically goes, I want to, you know, go 320 miles an hour in a top fuel car. Or maybe you do.
I don't know that I would necessarily like, that's what I would want to be, but I wouldn't necessarily say no. Like I obviously want to, if it's possible, I want a career in racing. Obviously sportsman is more of my forte, but I don't really know if it's there anymore because obviously NHRA doesn't pay what it used to. I don't know.
Well, I mean, if you look at what, and we could go all down that rabbit hole, what NHRA, in the terms of making money as a racer and a company or a sponsor or a team, is a huge endeavor.
Yeah.
You can go out and drag that Fox Mustang around and you can make $1 million a year if you win everything.
Yeah.
I mean, would you be happier just driving the old Fox and going around the spring fling or whatever and still running bottom bulb?
I feel like I would be happier if I was able to like take a dragster, take a door car, and go travel around the country and race.
Okay. That's what I was
But
trying
I don't. But the like NHRA, like the basis, like in the 2000s, lots of people were doing it. Like contingency in NHRA paid a lot more. Like what was it to win a national back then?
They say it was like $12,000 to $15,000 to win
contingency.
a national. Yeah,
and now
contingency money,
right.
not the race.
Yeah,
No,
it was like $1,200 to win the race.
Yeah, and now it's if you have every sticker and every company pays because some of them don't even like you put the sticker on, but then you gotta get them to pay like it's $5,000 like or $4,000, and that's if they all pay. That's if you have them all like.
Some of the stuff you have to have bought in the last 5 years.
You have to have proof of purchase. Like,
oh God.
Yeah, it's completely changed from what it used to be to now. And obviously, bracket racing is now way bigger than it was in the 2000s. But the best of the best go everywhere. At this point, it's more luck than anything. How you pull the lanes and whatnot. So.
Yeah, because I mean, I look at guys. I mean, you look at like Lights Out 15 was just recently. You know, I mean, if you go back and look at Lights Out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It wasn't, I mean, half the people in the world didn't know what the hell that was.
Yeah.
No.
Now it's you better be ready to enter the day he says it's open, and it's like anything. You get lucky if you can get in, then you got to travel and all this other stuff. But I guess what I'm going at is where you guys feel drag racing's going in the popularity thing. You know, because for me, I would rather watch. We can even dive down that to eighth quarter discussion, but I'd rather go out and watch a bunch of badass cars that just run. I mean, a 340 at this point is around the corner.
Yeah.
I would rather watch that, honestly, than funny cars. I hate to say that. I mean, yes, it'd be cool to go to the big show. I'd love to go to the big show and sit in the little triangle in the middle and cry from, nitromethane flames while I'm trying to, everything in my face drains out of it as I'm overwhelmed with fuel. But I'd rather honestly go and sit on the wall at South Georgia Motorsports Park and watch 1,000 cars that do amazing things.
Yeah. And I think that's why the Drag and Drive thing is going crazy right now too.
Yeah. Are you going to take part of any of that stuff?
We're talking about it.
We're thinking
for sure.
about doing the one that Wayne and Jeremy are putting on, but
yeah, there's one coming up here in the Pacific Northwest, and that's all to do with Bailey's deal with SICK, right?
Yep,
Isn't that? Yeah.
Yep. It's all that stuff.
I've been lucky enough to be on Power Tour and Drag Week more than once, and when I first did those, I was always so frustrated because one, nobody cares what their reaction time is, and I'm sorry, I cannot get past somebody sitting there, dink, 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 dink.
That was the best rule they made, where they took away the time. They started adding time if they waited on the light.
Yeah,
that was the greatest thing they did.
That frustrated the hell out of me because, dude, I mean, yes, you're not technically running lanes. It's about time and average and all that, but for the God's sakes, don't start. Putting your car on the two-step when the green light comes on. That's just annoying.
We need them going down the track at the same time.
Yeah, I agree. Do you see that? Do you see that in your guys' future? I mean, maybe it's time to buy the El Camino back. They didn't even have to have a trailer.
I don't really see us going heads up because
I think it'd be a fun weekend. I don't see us going that route just because I don't think there's that much money in it. Like the guys do Drag Week for a jacket. I don't that if there's not if you can't at least pay for some fuel, or I don't see myself doing it.
The competitive side of bracket racing, like you don't have to have the most money. You don't have to have just because you're the fastest doesn't mean you win. Like that sort of thing. And like brings me back to bracket racing, I'd say.
Yeah. If you bracket race for the rest of your life, would you be happy?
Yes.
Yeah. Would you rather run an eighth or a quarter mile? Because I'm going to have to get used to this too. Now, everybody, I've told a few people this, and please interject, okay? My plan in Super Pro is obviously a couple time runs. That's more about I'm just figuring out the lights. Like, you're like, most of these guys, I mean, I always call the same people that all the swinging dicks out there, you've already figured out the lights, you're double O all the fucking time. Fuck all of you. I mean that with love. And I have finally, I think, found the breakthrough. I went out there, and the last 2 weekends, I was like, 040 to 020 every run. Like, I finally, the light came on, all right?
Clicked.
And, I mean, at least I'm a dog in that. I'm in the hunt, right? I can then lose on the top end. But that's eighth mile versus quarter mile. What do you prefer? Because, I mean, it's so fucking quick, man.
It's a good question because, like, bracket racing, I prefer eighth mile. Just from the sole fact of it gets done quicker and there's lots of cars, less wear and tear on stuff, obviously. But, like, super comp racing, like NHRA racing, if it's eighth mile, I wouldn't want to do it. So,
yeah.
It's a hard one because there's bracket racing for eighth and super comp stuff, I prefer quarter. So, and I feel like if I had to choose one or the other, prior to me running Super Comp, I would have chose eighth mile. But now that I've ran Super Comp and I enjoy it, I think I'd rather, if I had to pick one for the rest of my life, I'd pick quarter.
Yeah.
Which is what I was not at all prior to this year.
Well, that's the thing. It's always a grumbling, around the track. And then.
But at the end of the day, like, we're real racing. Like, what does it matter if it's eighth or quarter? I'm going to go anyways. Yeah. I'm not going to not go because it's eighth. They're not going to not go because it's quarter.
Well, no, that's it. I mean, my whole game plan is Super Pros. I'm just going to keep it matted. I have enough eighth mile data. I'm just going to be like, I'll look at my reaction time and I'll either wompity-womp it a little bit or I'm not. But most of the time, I'm just going to stick it all the way through. Make a mental note so you can kick my ass in that. But I think that in the future, I think that it does come down to what you just said, which is it's just racing. I just want to do it. But I sometimes find myself trying to find where that path is. I mean, it's tough to balance. It's tough to find that balance. So, well, I don't know if there's anything else to cover. I do appreciate you guys coming out. You could have talked more. I'm going to give you that green. We don't have to stop it.
Sorry, we it's the first time we've done a podcast.
Yeah,
so
first
we'll
time
Really?
ever,
yeah, it's the first time we've ever done a podcast.
I've broken
so
your podcast cherry.
Yes. So
Okay, well, talk.
that's
about
part of talking. Part of the podcast is talking. Yes.
So one of the things that I was supposed to bring up is the wrong axle sizes in a dragster.
This is him. This is
Was that you? It was my little notes. I got to get you guys.
What else is on the notes? What else is on the notes?
Okay, so I was supposed to ask about a Burgerville Corvette.
Oh, that's Grandpa.
So that was my dad's Corvette that he raced.
Okay.
It was a '63 Corvette. It was actually an original bodied car. My dad made it a race car before Corvettes were.
Well, I was gonna say, in 1970, whatever, the car was it was a $3,500 car.
Yeah, and so it actually had they'd put a '65 front end on it when they first put it back together as a race car, and
they completely redid it.
So in '93 they put a new chassis underneath it. It still had the original Corvette chassis in there that they had put a 4-link on it and stuff, but it was crazy when we took the body off to realize that there wasn't much frame around there and stuff. So that was pretty crazy. And they put a tube chassis in there. And after it got built, I had just gotten out of high school and I kind of outgrew the car. I couldn't see out of the back of it. Yeah. I won some races with it. And then I just I've always wanted to have a dragster. And then we bought a dragster and kind of was off to the races with the dragsters from there. And we sold it in late 90s. Do you
wish you could find it just for nostalgia reasons?
So I would never want to buy it back.
I do, yeah.
You just chimed in that I want it.
Yeah.
I would never want to buy it back. It'd be really. I'd love to know what happened to it and where it ended up, just to know what ended up, if it ever ended up staying a race car or if someone did what they did.
I like where you're going with this. I see you as like the Dale Jr. thing where you just have the entire lineage of family's cars just in the backyard. I don't even care if it runs anymore. What would you want to race it again, or would you?
Yeah, I'd want to make a super stock.
Oh, okay, okay. So, well, I feel bad. I'm just like, hitting you with all this stuff about being, podcast virgins. All you have to do is talk. It was that, and then there was one other thing. It was fixing the dragster with the axles that were too short at Woodburn. That was night of fire race, and I don't even remember which day it was, but it must have been Friday, and I broke the right axle. It stripped out the spool. The dragster had an aluminum spool in it, and I broke the spool out. And I did the bonus race, and I'm leaving the line, and it's blowing the tires off, and I'm like, what could possibly be happening? Well, finally someone's like, no, it's just spinning the left tire. And I'm like, oh, it must have, okay. So I took the third member out that night, went home, and I get it together, but the spool, it was a Mark Williams spool to a Strange spool, and one axle is longer than the other. So it only had maybe a 1/4 inch of engagement. I'm asking Gary Erickson, I'm thinking it'll last, and he's like, it might last. I'm like, well, worst case scenario, it'll just strip out. And I ended up racing it that weekend, and it lasted. But right on.
That's where that story came from.
We could tell the Tulsa story.
Come on. We're an hour and 8 minutes in, and now you guys are going to start telling stories? Come on. I want some dirt, man. Cooper, I want some fucking dirt.
So we go back and forth on a lot of things all the time. But this is probably the worst time that I ever didn't listen to him. So in 2019, we went to Tulsa with a group of people, great friends. They took, 12 or 13 juniors all the way to Tulsa for the Western Conference Finals. And I break the motor day one.
If you ever want to kill yourself, go to all junior only race.
All week, Monday through Friday.
In 105 degree heat.
Humidity. So
pass.
We go. Monday,
hard pass.
Monday, I blow the motor up I went to a big motor. He told me I shouldn't.
I told him to stay with the 890 program because it won't break. It won't break things.
So I blow it up. Luckily, Jason Dickoff brought an extra motor. We put it in. We messed with it all week. Finally get it right for the final day, which is the big day. And back east, they don't have blinders on the tree. So there's no blinders. So it's
so you can see both?
Yes.
The whole tree is just fully open. So the races prior, they were index classes, so they were all he hadn't had like a handicap.
They weren't, but I didn't have a bad split yet.
Okay, well.
And so we go round one. I get lucky. I get the bye. So I pull it by. So I get the buy, going around 2. And I get a car that's like 400 or 500 difference. So the tree's going to do this.
Yeah.
And he's like, just dial honest.
No, I told you to dial whatever he dialed.
Or no, dial what he dialed. He's like, just dial what he dials
and fender race.
And fender race, right?
Because
I've been doing it all year. Like
you will not see the tree.
I should be able to, but stubborn me. Nope, I got it.
I got this.
No problem.
Yeah.
I'm 130 on the tree because it does this. I lose track of it, and the other guy's good. Whatever, I lose, and I'm just like, I'm gonna get my ass ripped. Here. This is not. This is
Like, you know it from the minute you let go. You haven't even made it 60 feet, and you know.
Listened to
I
me.
left, and I'm like, oh, I'm not good, and I didn't listen to him. This is bad. I come back, and I don't even remember what you said. All I know is I tried to stay clear of you.
See, that's what Welcome to podcasting. These are stories, man. You got, there is no goddamn way in God's greenery that within your racing history and experiences in your, that we got 3 stories in an hour and 10 minutes.
What's another one? I don't know that one.
Come on.
You got good ones with Jeremy.
Yeah, there's a lot of good
I
ones.
mean, I have more stories. I tell stories. That's what I do. I mean, I love telling about Frank walking up and just telling me you're splitting.
Yeah.
Why am I
think
splitting?
more
Because
this,
it's fucking David Chun and you're going to lose.
Well, and if you knew me, the allowing you to run with the delay box typically would not have been me.
Rule follower.
I'm pretty much.
Rule
I've been
follower.
reinstated 3 or 4 times for people going faster than 1150 when their car wasn't legal.
Okay.
And whether or not that was because of me or not, I don't know. But it shocks me that that happened. But I think it was because I knew you were new, and so I knew you from listening to you from the radio show from way back when.
Yeah.
Not that I knew you, but I knew of you, and so I regret not enforcing that now because I lost the round. Now, had I not lost the round, it probably would have been no big deal, like I was trying to tell Cooper then. But Cooper, I don't know if you'd heard. Have you heard the story when Cooper was counting? I'd have him launch in the junior, and he would count and his head would bob.
I'd go to 60 feet and count to 10, slow it down, and like my head would bobble.
No.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
Well, so
This was in juniors.
Okay.
So the motor, I didn't want to put a slow motor. I didn't want to buy another motor for 1 year of junior racing. So I was like, you're going to run this motor. It's faster than you can go. You're going to have to take off.
So am I to understand you basically had a head bob throttle stop?
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
Patent Cooper Chun.
And then I had-
2024.
and he had gotten so good at it, I had actually had another racer from Boise have his son start doing it. And so that was kind of cool.
I like that, the head bob throttle stop.
Yeah.
I think you got a patent there, buddy.
I oiled the track down 3 times in one weekend.
Whoops.
And we went to so this was
that was,
yeah, you remember now?
oh yeah.
This is 2020. We go to Firebird because it's the only track racing. It's like May, and we
Stupid COVID.
drive the El Camino over,
All right.
famous brown El Camino. Roads closed. We take a back way that we didn't have to take. About hit a deer. Drove through the night to get there.
All night.
And was the transmission seal was?
So the rear bushing went out of the back of the transmission.
So
and
I make the first pass. Tranny fluid.
Everywhere,
they
yeah.
cleaned the track.
Clean the track. We fix it. He like tries to dummy fix it. Doesn't actually fix it. I put tranny fluid down again, and so he brings it back and he's like, "All right, we're gonna fix it the right way." I think it was a 2-day race.
It
was a 2-day race.
And then
So we spend the night. We fix it correctly. And so Dennis, the track guy, comes over. He's like, "You have it fixed this time. It's not fixed. You're not going down." He's like, "No, I fixed it the right way."
Yeah.
All right, we're good.
I got you.
Oh, no. Training fluid all over again. And Dennis just comes over and he says, "It's all right. We're going home."
I was like, we're already changing the tires. We're not going to try again.
And then we barely make it home because we limp it home. And so finally get home. We're close to home. We take, we're on 205. And so we take the loop-to-loop to go back on our highway going home. Well, he thinks it's a good idea. Oh, we're almost home. So I'm just going to test it. White smoke. It didn't break, but white smoke just goes everywhere.
I think the drive shaft ended up being too short, and it was just taking out
just
the bushing.
wasn't-
It was taking out the
yeah.
bushing
No.
and the end of the transmission.
Well, yeah, after the 3rd time, I'm sure that they were like, you just keep driving out the other
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
Just-
Dennis shows up and he was.
We were
yeah,
done.
We were done.
You're done. I like it. If people want to follow you, support you, finance your, racing career for the next 20 years because they just feel like spending money, how do people follow you on social media and get a hold of you?
It's just my just my name. I don't really have a page or anything.
Facebook.
I need to
They can
make
find
one.
you on Facebook.
Yeah, that's what I meant. It's like a personal.
We need to get on that. I told Steve Kelly the same thing. You guys got to. It's not that hard, man. Come on. If I have a 53-year-old guy can do it, you can do it. You got to make like a Chun Racing, and then you got to do it like Prestige Worldwide. You got to have like, it's Chun Racing Worldwide.
You know what? You know what's crazy is like we're off driving, doing all these stuff, and I'm videoing them, and people are like, well, you got to let us know if they won or not, And so then I start doing the commentary and stuff, and it's just like it's fun. Like I should just get into it, and we need to set up it because it is fun.
It is fun. It's fun. Well, so is it at like just Cooper Chun on Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff? Yep. Okay. Guys, it has been a pleasure. I'm glad that I got to pop your podcast cherry. I think that maybe like say at the end of the year, we'll revisit and kind of see what happens. I might be like, dude, I actually won some fucking rounds, man. Holy shit.
Yeah. It's gonna be how many races you won.
First Wally, and you can go back to
you will get better racing. Yeah. Double.
My whole thing.
You'll come back and you will not regret it.
I'm telling you right now, my whole goal is to get out of first round. I told Steve Kelly that, I've told a million people that. If I get out of first round every week, you might as well. To me, I have all those wallies you have on the wall. To me, that's it. I just don't want to get my teeth knocked in, man. Thank you to both of you for coming down. I really appreciate it. We'll revisit this. You'll now know that you're supposed to yap more. It's okay. I told you. But it's been a lot of fun. Anybody, if you see these guys down at Woodburn or Portland or wherever they're running, just walk up. It's great people. It's always fun to see you guys. And we're going to call it a podcast and go from there. Okay? All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.